Oh, hello. Yes. How are you? How are you guys doing? Oh, fuck. I found this world literally like 2 seconds upon joining, so I'm here now. I thought it would be fun to start switching up every single time. Yeah. I'm doing a second one. This is the day after I did the first one. I got hair on my there's like loose hair on my arm. But yeah, it was just yeah, I'm trying. I'm gonna continue trying it as long as I can keep going. I'm gonna keep going with it. Shit. There's a bird over. The ADHD's kicking in. No, I was thinking about it earlier. I wanted to talk about it because this is a place where I'm gonna start talking about all the little things that are in my head. Then what better place to talk about it than fucking right now. Also, I had a better setup this time. I'm hooked. My wires are hooked. Anyways, yeah, I have a better setup this time. My computer is right here, and I have a little camera, a little screen camera that lets me see myself. It's where my fucking actual laptop screen is. So I always know where my laptop is now, and I also know that if I reach out here, I will hit it, so I don't end up punching it. I didn't do that last time, but I'm much more prone because of the way I'm in now, with the setup I have now. Anyways, I wanted to talk about this, and it's about words. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big... I love using very long-winded sentences to fucking my advantage. I love just yapping, and I'm doing yapping now, but I like to talk. I like to bullshit things. I like to bullshit a lot. It's fun for me because you never fucking know what I'm gonna say next. I could say anything. You don't fucking know what I'm gonna fucking say next. Avocado. You didn't fucking predict that shit. So yeah, I like to use the words and bullshit things. I like to make shit up with friends. To do all kinds of stuff. I have all kinds of stories you might end up hearing about. One involving nuclear genocide. Sorry for another time. But all kinds of stories of times that I use speech to get out of situations. And despite that, I actually really fucking hate words. I hate words a lot. I think words are stupid. I mean, no, they serve their purpose. I guess they're not stupid. But I don't find value in what somebody says as much as what they do, and that's obvious. But I'm not sitting there and saying actions speak louder than words. Everybody fucking knows that shit. I'm just saying, like, dude, words don't hold the weight you would think they do. People fucking think they do. It doesn't hold as much value anymore. We've kind of lost the value of words. And it's just weird, like, I don't know, it's just, like, think about it this way, how many fucking times, I'm not gonna fucking say, obviously, we have 1,000 fucking times where people fucking lied to each other. I'm sure you have fucking thousands of memories where people lied to you, or around you, or some shit. Everybody has a fucking liar's story. But what's not usually a story, but still something that happens all the fucking time that I really want to kind of mention is how many fucking times have you lied to yourself? I lie to myself all the fucking time. And I'm not talking about like big shit like, oh, I'm this grand man or some shit like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about small shit. How many fucking times have you sat there and looked at that fucking laundry pile and said, oh, I'm going to go do that laundry later in 5 minutes just to never get to it until tomorrow? How many fucking times have you done shit like that? All the time. You don't lie to just other people. You lie to yourself. We, as humanity, lie to ourselves all the fucking time. Words don't really fucking hold the weight we would expect them to. Because we, as humans, have lost that fucking, lost the weight in them. And there's very few people who's actually earned that right to fucking, who still has the weight they're supposed to weigh. And those people are mutes. I love mutes. I'm a big fan of fucking silly, goofy mutes. They have a soft spot in my heart. I love it. They're my favorite fucking, whether it's in media or fucking somebody I know, an actual person. I love mutes. I think they're the coolest motherfuckers ever. Because, one, you never know what they're gonna fucking do. They're just goofy like that. They're fucking silly. Not all mutes are silly, but I'm talking about silly, goofy mutes. I fucking love me silly, goofy mutes. But, but mutes, they have a fucking special ability. They do not talk. Ever. Sometimes by choice, sometimes not by choice. But the ones that can speak and choose not to speak, they have a special fucking thing that they can do, and that is speak. Their speech is the most. How many fucking times have you heard a fucking somebody who's almost always mute? And imagine how many fucking times you've been in a situation. I've been in it a few times. Depending on how many fucking mutes it's different. But I've been in several fucking times where I've been in a group, and in that group, we'll all be having nice little conversations, and then this one guy over here who, doesn't speak often, for first time ever, fucking said something. And even though we were all talking, every single one of us were having our own little fucking chatter, we all went silent to hear what that fucking person said. For some reason, that fucking person had more weight to what they said, even if it gave zero information. No matter what it was that person said, their words had enough weight to shut all of us up, even if it wasn't something telling us straight up to shut up. And it's purely over, obviously, it doesn't take a fucking genius to realize that the reason we value them more than what we value what they say other than, the average fucking guy, because they don't speak. They don't speak. And therefore their words mean so much more because you don't hear them speak that much. The people, it's a saying that the stupidest people yell the loudest. The people who yell the most, who talk the most, like me. Hell, look at me, I'm talking in front of a fucking camera, a virtual camera, doing this fucking whole thing. People who speak all the fucking time don't have as much weight to their words as the humble mute. Because the mute doesn't speak. They only listen. And that's another fucking thing that they got going for them. They only ever listen. For the most part. All they do is sit there and listen. And, that gives them a huge advantage. Because while I'm sitting here, I'm not learning anything from this experience. At least I haven't yet. I'm just speaking. I'm just talking. And therefore, all I'm doing is giving out information. But I have not received information. Whether you want to believe what I say or not believe what I say, you, as the listener, have gained some form of fucking knowledge from me just speaking. Because even if you can take nothing else from what I say, you now know that I'm thinking this. That's more knowledge that you have. You have benefited from this. You as a listener have benefited more than I as a speaker. And because of that, listening is something not many people like to do, but it's something we all gotta learn to do a lot more. And I know thousands of fucking people have said it in the past, but it all just comes down to the fact that, man, words, they're cool as shit. Literally the foundation of almost every form of communication that we have. Most of our communication is done through speech, through words, through text, whatever, through words. And yet they do not have the value they did when they were first invented. Probably. I wasn't I wasn't there when they were first invented. So I wasn't there when words were invented. I wasn't there when the Tower of Babel or Babel or whatever the fuck was constructed and everybody got jumble fucked. I wasn't there for any of that. So, but from my knowledge, I believe that fucking words have lost value. They don't hold the weight they used to. And if you want your words to mean shit, shut the fuck up. Simple. Shut up. Stop talking. Just sit down and listen to what everyone around you has to say. Because when you learn to listen, you learn to fucking learn. Which is stupid, a little redundant maybe, even if I use that term correctly. But, you fucking you learn. And that's important because you'll want to, it's good. No matter what knowledge you gain, even if it's incorrect knowledge, you still gained knowledge and it's still benefiting you. Even if it's wrong and incorrect knowledge, I still believe that's useful because once you find out it's useful, either you'll hear it and you immediately know that it's wrong and you know exactly how it's wrong and shit. You know it's wrong, it could be discarded, and you know now that's fucking bullshit, You know now that somebody believes in that for some fucking reason. Or you don't know it's incorrect and you run with it and eventually you learn and, but it's still, you learned that, hey, this knowledge, fucking I previously thought had weight, did not have any weight to it at all. It's a fucking piece of paper. I got wet paper. I could just poke a hole through it with my fucking finger. Yeah, fucking words. I think they're cool. I love words. But I also hate words. I just unplugged my charger. Oh man. How unfortunate is that? I've dropped my charger. Hold on. I'm having technical difficulties. And there's probably going to be a lot more where that came from because I'm doing this and no one else is. And I am going to have a lot of issues. But yeah, no, I just want to talk about words. There's a character. I really got to be careful with this fuck-ass, shit-ass wire, man. There's one character. I couldn't remember. I actually had to call my dad before this because he knows movies. I don't watch movies. So he knows about all that shit. But there's this character in a movie called Dogma, and I think he's in other movies as well. But he's this character. His name is Silent Bob. And from what I could remember, this could be actually complete bullshit, and I just don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But from what I could remember from the little bit that I saw, because remember, I don't really fact check anything I fucking say here. I'm just going off, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really give a shit. I'm not here to fucking provide. This is, as much as I might talk like I am, I'm not really here to give you guys any specific fucking information. I'm just telling you what I believe in my mind. You are literally here listening to me rant on about what I want to fucking rant on. And I respect you for that. I appreciate that. But, yeah, no, I've essentially this whole thing, fucking... But yeah, point is, fucking, there's a guy named Silent Bob. From what I can remember, he rarely talks about the movie. And that's his whole shtick. He rarely fucking talks. But every time he talks, he provides information that gives you something to go off of. From what I can remember. He gives you good information. And fucking his words meant more than his fucking friend, Jay, who just ran off about random bullshit. Actually, I don't remember if he ran off about, but from what I can remember, he talked all the time. It was supposed to be a dynamic. One guy talked, one guy didn't. And he and Jay talked all the fucking time. His words were just kind of, they meant shit, but they didn't mean as much. But this guy, his words meant shit. And, I don't know, that could also be entirely wrong. Could be bullshit. But if you just, separate the actual characters, you can kind of get the dynamic of what I'm trying to say. And I had another friend recently Some of y'all know who I'm talking about. Who was previously thought to be a mute. Turns out they were doing something. I can't actually announce yet because I don't know who's all listening. But they were doing something, but they were fucking... They were doing a whole thing, but they were silent. Throughout most of the time we knew them, they were fucking silent. And then I remember we were all gathered around having a conversation, and then they said hello. No information provided. Not a single fucking word gave us any new information. But all they said was hello. That was enough to shut up everyone in that fucking group. Every single motherfucker in that group went silent. I was like, oh, hello? You know, holy fuck. They spoke. Even though we were all giving us, you know, we were all talking, actually providing information to each other, their simple hello, even though they were already there, they didn't even need to say hello. Their simple hello was enough for us to just stop giving information the whole time and just let them be like, hey, they spoke, you know? Because their words meant something, you know? That's, you know, you want your words to mean something? Shut up, stop talking, listen for a bit. Here's something you can do. I've done it every once in a while. It's quite fun. It's hard to do it with friends because, you know, if you want to do it with friends, it's possible, but you have to do it for a long time for it to work, or else it's just not going to work. But if you go into a random place, whether it be in real life, fucking, I don't know, maybe even a Discord server, I don't know, I've never done it in a Discord server, or VR chat, or whatever the fuck, you just go into a place, public fucking place where you could just chat, and you go up to a group or somebody or something and start interacting with them, but never fucking speaking. You just do not speak to them, but you interact with them in different fucking various ways, whether it be through fucking card tricks like this, you know, you can fucking, you know, you'll build up a fucking bond with that person, and you know you'll get a little fucking bit of known, but they'll recognize you as somebody who doesn't speak. They'll recognize you in their head as somebody who doesn't talk, as a mute. So when you finally at the end fucking go, it's like, give a fucking, whether you correct somebody, you make a joke, or you say something, it doesn't matter what you say. If you spend enough time, like maybe an hour or 2 hours with them, without speaking at all, but interacting with them frequently, and you finally speak, they're gonna fucking listen to you. Not always, depends on the fucking person, I'm gonna be honest with you. But a lot of the time, you know, the fucking people are more likely to listen to what you have to say because because of the small time they fucking knew you, you weren't somebody who said a lot. So what you said to them automatically kind of meant more than what anybody else was fucking saying. You know? It's cool. To me, that's cool. You know, it's a little, you know, psychiatry. Not a psychiatry? Psychology? I don't fucking know. It's a brain thing. It's a weird little human brain thing. But, you know, just the brain, if you want your words, this is all the main point of what I'm talking about now. And I'm about to move on. The main point of, you know, if you want to make your words mean something, you know, go silent for a bit. I intend to do that. I've actually been trying to build up. I've been trying to do my better to speak less and less, so that when I do speak, words meant more, because I want words to mean more. That also kind of contradicts with my character, so it's kind of hard. But you know, it's a whole deal. But yeah, no, it's just a, you know, fun little thing to think about. This isn't me telling you to shut the fuck up, but, you know, I'm just saying, like, hey, it's a fun little thing to think about every once in a while. Something else that I thought was cool to think about is I was trying to figure out a fucking name for this little thing, and James gave me this one, and gave me the name that I kind of stumbled upon, and I thought it was pretty cool. I thought the name Thinking is Forbidden. He's like, hey, if I were doing this, I would call it Thinking is Forbidden. And I was like, oh, That's a cool ass fucking name. So yeah, now we're doing that. Doing Thinking is Forbidden. And it's pretty cool. I like that name a lot because it was like, hey, you know, to me, it kind of spoke to me because it was like, hey, these are thoughts that I don't normally talk about, you know, and it's plus when I'm doing this, I'm kind of just spewing shit. I'm spitballing. A lot of what you're gonna hear from me is just, I've said it before, and I'm going to keep repeating myself because that's how my brain works. Because I'm not thinking about what I'm speaking, but I'm gonna, you know. Actually, I forgot what I was gonna fucking repeat. So I guess we don't have to worry about repeating. Brain. But no, I have I'm spitballing here. A lot of that's what it was. A lot of what I'm gonna say is incorrect, and that's kind of on purpose because it's exact. Because I'm trying to give kind of an accurate experience of how my brain works, how the thoughts in my head work, and so everything I'm saying is just completely what I think of at this moment. I'm not really thinking before I speak. I'm just speaking. And I want to, you know, there's a little bit of prep because, you know, usually I have to start these off with an idea of what something I want to talk about. But other than that, it's just going to be run off of fucking random bullshit go. And I thought the idea, you know, so Thinking is Forbidden kind of ties into the idea that I'm not really thinking of what I'm saying. But these are thoughts, you know. You know, I don't know. To me, I thought it was a cool fucking name. Another fun fact about the last video is I fucked up in it. It's complete. So yeah, no, it's 2 videos put to 1, and I thought that was a little silly. But and I was gonna trim up parts of it, but the moment I started, so it didn't look like it was just obvious 2 pieces put together. But the moment I started listening to myself, the more I was like, but I want to cut this out. I want to cut that out. And I knew if I started cutting shit out, I knew I was gonna I was just gonna end up scrapping the whole thing. So I thought, better yet, don't do that. You know, so it's a little iffy at first, but yeah, it's just 2 videos stitched together, and you've already figured that out if you watched it already. Yeah, I'm also going to stitch 2 more segments. I'm probably going to stitch more with this one as well. But this isn't going to be the idea of, oh, I'm making 2 episodes and putting them together. I'm doing this more so if my thing crashes, I'm not having to worry about an issue. In fact, actually, how long have I been talking? I've been talking for a bit. I'll give it to 25. Once I hit 25, my thing, I'll cut it. Yeah, yeah, no, I made, you know, that was a mistake I made. I also made another mistake with the songs, which I just used the fucking video editing software's library, audio library, and I just kind of put it at 1%. It was the best way I could do it. But one of them I forgot to set to 100%, or put to 1%. So it was playing full volume, and I almost didn't catch it because I skimmed through all of my videos, through the entire video to make, you know, because I didn't want to actually listen to what I said, or else, again, I'd start cutting shit out. Because I don't like listening to me talk, and I don't like talking about, and I know if I spend too long thinking, that's another reason why Thinking is Forbidden is a good name. If I spend too long thinking about the video, I'm gonna hate that I'm uploading it. I'm gonna hate that I'm doing it. You know, so I'm not gonna want to do it anymore. So I just want to fucking... So there's very little thought process in this whole thing. And that's by design, because I don't want to make... Because I know I'm gonna make something... my perfectionist mind isn't gonna want to fucking produce this shit. Because this is gonna be a god-awful video. All of these fucking videos are. But yeah, another mistake was, yeah, I put it at full volume, and I skimmed through it, and I just so happened to hear, like, music blasting over my voice, and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I was already halfway through uploading the video, and I had to fucking cut the whole thing, re-export the whole thing, fix the video, re-export it, then upload it again, and that sucked. It was really annoying, but I got it. It was cool. Another thing I want to do, I don't know if I have hit 25. Yeah, I'm gonna go and put a pause on this just to make sure that we're all clear. So give me a second, guys. Okay. Hello. Anyways, what I was thinking about was doing a thing where instead of going on about, or I've also thought about giving my life story. I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight. I'm probably gonna do it next one, but I want to give my life story because if I actually do end up going through this, I feel like if my life story is already fucking known, not my extensive fucking, like, I'm not gonna go through every little detail. It's just gonna be a big fucking brief thing because it just makes more sense that way. But I'm probably gonna start talking about at some point. I'm gonna give like an actual brief history of my life. That way, if I do keep doing this, instead of going and sitting there and having to re-explain my life again and again, like, oh yeah, I was in Ohio at this point and I did this at this point, over and over, it just makes more sense for me just to go and explain my story and then be done with it. And I know me, and I know I'm probably going to explain it multiple times anyways, but at least you'll have something to go off of that, ties everything a little bit together and creates a timeline, I suppose, of certain events. But I'm not going to do that right now because I don't really want to. There's a lot of stuff to go into. You know what? No, fuck it. Why not? Because might as well get the fucking shitty part out of the way, right? So it all started on the day of my birth. No, in all seriousness, it's a big brief of my life. Is when I was really young, I'm just gonna shoot ball a lot of this, and then it's gonna tie it into other bits as I remember them. There's been a lot of sections in my life. Eventually, you're gonna hear me start talking a lot about stupid game shit, and all of that's gonna be in relation to my very recent, because only recently did I start playing online games and start doing all of this shit that built up the fucking personality of the fucking guy that I am now. Another thing I also got to keep in mind is I noticed in the last video, halfway through the video, I began breathing a little bit heavier, and I have this little thing where if I start talking for long periods of time and I don't stop, like I am now, so I gotta give, I will end up wearing myself out because I can't talk for very long periods of time because I forget to breathe. I feel like it's the best way to explain it in the most fucking. I will actually just forget to take breathers. So another thing that this is going to be doing is trying to teach me to speak slower, which I ought to be doing anyways. That way I can breathe better. And I can remember, hey, I'm not in a fucking rush here. I'm just doing this shit. But anyways, big brief of my life story. So, there was, when I was younger, I used to fucking go from home to home because we didn't really have a house of my own. And, at one point, we started living with, my Uncle Rob. I will probably bleep that name out. I don't know why I said it. Maybe I'll leave it in. Who knows? Who knows what I'll do? Nobody fucking thinks, but I don't know. My brain fucking shut off. But yeah, no, I lived with my uncle and my aunt, who I won't name. But my uncle was cool, and I'll get into that's probably gonna be in the next topic. But yeah, then I go there, and then we get an offer. At the time, I should elaborate. When I was 3, my parents, they got a divorce. So through most of my life, I didn't live with my dad. I knew my dad, I talked to my dad, but I didn't really live with him. And then we got an offer to go and move to Ohio, which we did, and we lived there for roughly a year. And during that year, a lot of shit happened, and we ended up in, yeah, it had to have been a homeless shelter. I don't fully remember. It was some kind of weird little hospice. I don't think hospice, but it was some weird little place. But we lived up in a homeless shelter for a while. And that was for a few months, and then we finally got enough fucking time to be able to go back home to where I live to Texas, because I live in Texas. Fun fact. But during that time, or when I got back to Texas, we went back and moved in with my uncle again, my uncle and my aunt. And once I got there, I have a brother. At the time I lived with my mom, my brother, and that was it. And then when I moved in with them, I lived with my uncle and aunt and all of that. But when we moved back home to Texas, my brother ended up living with Dad. When we got back, that's what they agreed on, that they would. My brother would start living with my dad. So then it became a thing where I was living with me and my mom and my uncle and my aunt. But a huge fight broke out. And that might be a story I tell, that might not, because that was that's something I'm still reeling over. We got into a huge fight, and one thing led to another. Me and my mom ended up living in a homeless shelter for roughly, another year. So I lived in a homeless shelter. I lived in 2 homeless shelters, and one of them I lived in for roughly a year. The other one I think it was just for a few months. I don't know. I can't remember. And then after the homeless shelter, I lived with after a while, the homeless shelter presented us with an option. You can stay living here if you really want to, but it's a bad idea and you shouldn't do it. Or the better responsible option, we give you this fucking little apartment that you can go and live in. You pay part of the rent and do all of this little bit, and it gets you off the street. You get your own place, and all of that, how it all goes. And that's what we did for years. I think I was a teenager when I was a teenager. For a fact, I know I was a teenager. I can't remember if I was 13, 14, or 15, but it was one of those. I think I was 13. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was 13 when I moved into that homeless shelter. Or not homeless shelter, that little apartment. And I lived in that apartment up until 18 years old. And when I became 18, what ended up happening was I graduated, and I was forced to make an option. Right around that time, my brother came in. He went to visit us in our apartment, but then just decided to stay there, and it was a whole ordeal, but I won't get into that just yet. But it became an option. I can continue living. When I graduated, I had to make a choice. Either I continue living there in a stagnant place where a lot of fucking things was just going to take up a lot of time and money, and I wasn't going to be able to get anywhere. Or B, I took a massive, biggest fucking leap of faith I've ever done, and I go and I fucking leave everyone behind to live with my dad, and he'll help me set up with a job, and which I can start doing shit, and that's what I chose to do. I chose to take the leap, the faith, because I needed something to happen with my life. I didn't want to fucking be stuck in a pit. So I took the leap of faith, and I moved in with my dad, and I got a job, and they lied to me about the fucking position I was going to be doing, but that's fine. They told me I was going to be doing actual work. So it's a carpentry job. I still work there. I still love the job. But I do a carpentry job. And when I got there, they're like, "Oh, psych, you're going out into the field and doing the fucking lawn care." And I was like, "Ah, that sucks. I don't want to do lawn care." But a paycheck was a paycheck. I've never had a job before, so I couldn't complain. And shit went up, and that was a few years back, and now I'm up here. I'm in a much higher position. I wouldn't say much higher position, but I'm in a higher position than I was in the job. I do active repairs, which means I go and travel around now. Instead of just staying in one place doing the fucking thing, I go around and I fix the stuff that we produce. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't know if I don't want to go too much into the actual job with something I'm posting publicly online. So yeah, and then a lot of the time I've been spending a lot of time online. Recently, when I got the headset, and then I got on fucking VR chat, and that hasn't been as much as it looks like. It hasn't been fucking my life up as much. I haven't been infected with it as much as you would think, even though here I am on VR chat talking. It's just, to me right now, it's an outlet. That's what I'm using it as. I wouldn't say I'm one of the people who get like obsessively online about it. I don't have phantom sense, so. But yeah, anyways. Yeah, that's up until that's kind of the fucking thing I've had. And then at the beginning of this year, I've been down a huge downward spiral, which is why I'm doing this shit. And also, I have funny shakies like this. Is a neurological disorder. We don't know if it's Tourette's or anything, but I'll get into that when next week, when I actually see the neurologist about it. So hopefully that works. Anyways, where to leap off after this? Because that's about roughly the life story I have. There's a lot of intricacies in there, like I think recently, and if I want to get into the game shit early, I started a group called the Thronglers, which I'm still a big fan of. My biggest creation to date, which is just a shitpost group, and I love those guys. They're the funniest fucking guys I know. Fucking shitpost group that was originally built to be a mafia and a fucking SCP-based fucking game. And then, other things I've done. Most of the funny shit I've done in the few years after I fucking moved out. All of the really good stories. And I probably will tell them. It just depends on whatever I decide to land on. Because now that I give my story, I can give all whatever fucking plot I want. I'm trying to think of some kind of way to fucking do it. But again, I shouldn't be thinking at all. It kind of breaks the whole point. So, I think I shouldn't think. I think I'm going to take a drink first. Yummy. Yeah. That was my life story. And then other shit happened where now I have a neurological illness. That's what it is. Whether it's Tourette's, Asperger's, or something. I think the idea of it being Asperger's is pretty fucking funny. Because, bro, I got Asperger's. That's funny, right? But then, other shit, I don't know. I could have anything. Who knows? Who knows what I have? It hasn't killed me yet. I know I ended up in the ER over it recently. I don't know if I've already told that story. Even though it was yesterday, I can't remember shit. Kind of on part of all the stress. But yeah, then I guess fucking other things. I don't know. There's like one story where I want to talk about my uncle, but I also feel like that's just not a good story to get into because I feel like unloading to people on the internet that I've been in a homeless shelter twice. It's kind of enough information to kind of unload on somebody. I feel like going into like really depraved things is kind of not a good starting point, especially if I don't back out of it, it's not a good idea for me. If I do end up backing out of it, all of my really deep problems are going to be out there if I go into them immediately, so we're just not going to do that. I guess where I can start is fun stories. I am going to start on the internet side. I guess a good way to give you the kind of idea of I used to be the shitty fucking person. This one fucking real shit ass fuck ass guy, a real supervillain, if you will. And I used to fuck with people all the time. There was this kid. He wasn't a kid. Yeah, I think he was. He was like 17, I think. So yeah, he's a kid, but he wasn't a kid. I was 18 at the time, so I was only 1 year young. Doesn't justify what I did, though. But I will say that he should have left. But I used to do this little streaming thing a while ago. I'll cut to the chase, James. If you hear this, I'm telling the story of Ethan. I could say their name because it wasn't. I don't think it was their real name. But anyways, point is, there's this kid named fucking Ethan. I used to do the streaming thing with James and somebody else named Leon. I just watched a bird fly to a fucking floor. That was... What? Okay. Ethan. Yeah. He did this thing where he would show up to our streams because the way the streaming worked, it wasn't like Twitch or anything. It was on his other app I won't get into. But there's this fucking streaming thing that we did where anybody could join, or up to 4 people could join. And it would be me, James, and Leon. And we did all of these. We had 3 people, and then we had a 4th spot. Who was going to film that 4th spot? Whoever the fuck we wanted to. And so people would try, come and go, and we'd have fun, conversing. But every once in a while, this kid named Ethan would show up. And I didn't like Ethan very much, because he always, even if it was because we would, me, James, and Leon would switch who streamed. So sometimes James would be, sometimes Leon would be, sometimes I would be. We would, switch out who streamed all the time. And even if it was my stream, Ethan would tell me how I needed to speak, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Even though I don't like words, I also don't like you telling me how I need to conduct my fucking speech. Who the fuck are you? I don't like it when my boss does it. Why would I let you do it? Or I barely let my boss fucking conduct my speech. Why would I let you conduct my speech? It doesn't make sense. So, no, fuck you. I'm gonna talk how I want. So I didn't like this guy. I didn't like this fucking kid. And he kept going on, hey, don't say this, don't say that. It hurts my feelings. Well, if it hurts your feelings, don't come to my stream. Well, one thing led to another, and eventually, and Leon had this thing where he's really kind to people. He doesn't want anybody to be hurt. He was the kind man of the group. James didn't give a shit either way. He gave a shit, but he didn't give a shit. And I was the bad person. I was supposed to be the piece of shit. And this buddy Ethan, he did this thing where... Or he kept going on about this shit, and it pissed me off. And eventually, I told fucking Leon, just mid-stream, like, hey, look, man. I'm just letting you know right now, I think you need to go check on something in the kitchen. And I don't think we've ever rehearsed this. I think I just said this on a whim. And I think he understood exactly what I meant. Because the moment I said that, he's like, you know what? You're right. I did forget to check on the thing on the kitchen. Give me a sec. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Which to me sounded on a timer. What really happened is he told me I have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to say whatever the fuck I want without having to fucking deal with consequences. Other than, getting banned. But I never got banned. They could never do that. They were pussies. But what ended up happening was I went off on this guy, and it's still out there. There's a recording of it out there. I don't remember how bad I went, but I went off on this guy. The entirety of the 5 minutes was just by the time Leon came back, this kid, this fucking guy that I think was like a year younger than me, was bawling his fucking eyes out by the time I was fucking done with him. And, I know, shitty fucking thing to do, and I'm not telling you the story to make me sound cool or anything. Just to give you a perspective of, type of person I used to be, and type of person, I'm never gonna tell these stories as look at me, I'm this badass. I don't want if you ever take it as if you take that as the lesson, you've misunderstood my point. Whoa. I unplugged the charger again. Chat, I need to stop doing that. But yeah. So that's what happened. Fucking this kid came up to me, fucking yelled, and then went on, or kept going on about telling me what I can say, and also just being a fucking nuisance to me, because he realized I didn't like him, so he tried to fuck with me. And he ended up crying. And it really set the stage of who the person I was gonna be was. I think that set the stage of the type of person I was gonna be for a very good while, because that was the start of, I guess, what you would consider my villain arc, but I wouldn't call it that. I would just say me being a fucking shitty person. Because holy shit, I was a fucking asshole during that time. I think that's the worst I've ever been. I did a lot of fucked up shit then. But yeah. So yeah, that's a lot of fucking dumb shit. But yeah. So I made this kid cry, and I remember he came back. Leon came back, and he was like, "Hey man, what's wrong? What happened? Jack, what did you do?" And the kid couldn't defend himself, and eventually he left. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't want to ruin anybody's reputation, but if I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to tell the truth here. Leon enjoyed it. Let's not play pretend here. I mean, he might admit to it. I don't know. But I know he enjoyed it. I know he also found fun from it. And I know that because I know later on, I got a DM from him telling me that Ethan came back. Even though I was no longer associated with what he was doing, Ethan returned to him and started, because he was still doing streaming, I wasn't, and he came back and told me that Ethan had returned. And that, I think, I was rude then too. I was also a piece of shit then, but I feel like that was changing around then. And what ended up happening was I fucked with him. I kept fucking with him. And he started making these jokes, or these fucking things, that he was going to kill himself. And I'm going to say right now, he was never going to do it. I know he wasn't going to do it because because I know when somebody's fucking lying. I am really good at bullshitting. I was there when the fucking bullshit stones were fucking written. Rules of law were written. I know how that shit works. But also, he also did just send like a very clearly faked Photoshop fucking thing of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use this knife right here. And it was like a fucking poorly Photoshopped knife. It was silly. I don't know if he was like trying to convince me or if he was just doing a bit. But yeah, that happened, and I was like, okay, look, I know he's trying to fuck with me, but here's what I'm gonna do. I kind of feel a little bad because bro was vibing this time. He didn't fucking deserve it, and I did try to kind of coax him down and kind of like, hey man, look, here's the situation. And I explained to him, I talked to him, and then essentially what I did, actually, you could say this is debatably worse. What I essentially fucking did was I bullied this kid to where he was threatening suicide, and then made him love himself again. It was weird. I don't know. I don't even know why I did it. In reality, I don't know why I did it. I don't even think it was because I could. I think me just saying it's because I could. Yeah, you could sit there and say it was a change of heart. But I don't know. It was just a weird thing I fucking did. So that fucking happened. I don't know. Yeah, that was the whole story with Ethan. There was other fucking stories. There was this one fucking guy where I fucking hold on, I want to grab a drink. Drinky time. If you aren't drinking water, drink water. Just, make sure you're staying hydrated, all that, whatever, fucking bullshit. Yeah, then there's this one fucking guy a long time ago I want to talk about. I thought about him earlier today, and now I'm talking about Ethan. I can talk about him. This is way later after the fact. I went to a completely different streaming site. Me and James were still doing it together, but Leon had stayed in that fucking area, and we didn't want to be part of it because we didn't like it anymore. But we moved to this new area, and we met up with this guy named Kev. And Kev became, I don't want to say the replacement, because there was no replace. It's rude. I don't consider anybody to be a replacement of anybody. But Leon wasn't with us anymore, and we wanted a third guy, and Kev showed up, and he became the third guy for a while. And Kev was cool, but Kev was weird. He did this thing, or he did his own stream. He was almost, honestly, I don't want to say, like I said, I don't want to call him a replacement of, but he was almost identical in attitude and personality to fucking Leon. It was really fucking weird. But I think Kev also had a little bit more of an ego on him than Leon did. Leon doesn't, even to this day, from my knowledge, doesn't really have much of an ego. He's just the way he is. It's cool. I don't have an issue with him. I think he's awesome. But Kev had an ego about him. And it was most prominent when there was this one incident involving this guy who was the biggest streamer on the platform for what I can remember. Was the biggest fucking streamer. Kev tried to talk to this guy, and this guy, his name was Daddy Lucifer. If that doesn't tell you anything about him, I don't know what will. The guy was really goofy. I've never talked to him before up until this point, but yeah. Kev tried to talk to Daddy Lucifer. Daddy Lucifer knew about Kev, and apparently tried to actually lure him, tried to kind of call him a pedophile. Which, fun fact, don't you ever fucking call anybody a pedophile if you just don't like the person. Never fucking use that as a false claim, ever. That's fucking, not even just because you might ruin that guy's fucking life. I'm not worried about that guy's fucking, don't fucking ruin other people's life because you don't fucking like them. But, pedophile is, we need if there's an actual pedophile, we cannot afford to be questioning whether it's a real fucking thing or not. So I don't like it I hate when people try to use fucking, oh, he's a pedophile to just, ruin somebody's fucking life. Even if, when that's just a false fucking accusation. Don't make false accusations about pedophilia. Because, dude, if somebody is a fucking pedophile, last thing we need to fucking do is sit here and question if you're right, if the person making the claim is fucking bullshitting or not. Last thing we need to fucking do. But anyways, you got called a pedophile, and I didn't like that, but I was told to stand down. I was told I was not allowed to handle it, because they didn't want other people involved when shouldn't, and that pissed me off a little bit because I could have handled it. And I'll get into that. But he didn't want, but, I wasn't allowed to. Because, he's my friend, he asked me not to, I have to agree to it. Technically, it's his fucking house, his rules. His fucking problem, his rules. His circus, his monkeys, whatever. And then it got to this part. But I had this one other friend named Miss Fox, who, in truth, I began despising. I didn't like her after a while because she was very mean. I don't know how to explain it. She wasn't a good friend, I feel like. She would get defensive and shit, and she was also very confusing about shit. If you didn't do things exactly her way, it was wrong, and I hated that. It pissed me off. So I stopped liking her at a certain fucking point. But before that, there was this fucking. But she was really, really good friends with Daddy Lucifer. And, I was in a call with her on doing one of their little streams that was, like I said, it was the stream, it's the same type of stream, where you could join, except instead of 4 people, it was 8 people could join in at once. And I was there, and she was there, and then fucking Daddy Lucifer joined, and I wasn't allowed to talk about the situation, but I also wasn't going to sit there and just let somebody, I wasn't going to just sit there and act like things were okay. So I was like, hey man, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. But Miss Fox, she didn't like that. She was not happy with the fact that I was leaving. So she was like, hey man, why are you leaving? And I was like, I don't like that guy. I have issues with that guy. I'm not allowed to talk about them. Like, well, just come and talk about them. I can't. It's against the rules. I made a fucking agreement that I wouldn't talk about it. It's like, well, the issue ain't gonna solve itself until somebody talks about it. And I was like, motherfucker, and just after fucking fighting, eventually I gave in. And I was like, look, I'll talk about it. Because in truth, I did want to talk about it. And it was a conversation. I am not fucking with you. I went up to this guy and I was like, look, man, I don't like that you call my friend a pedophile. And he was like, well, you call your friend a pedophile because he is a pedophile. What he did, what fucking Daddy Lucifer claimed was that Kev, who's an all-ages streamer at the time, we're gonna call him a fucking I don't know. I'm gonna continue calling him a streamer. I don't think those were streams. I wouldn't call them streams. But it's like, look, he's an all-ages streamer. They called the Kev a pedophile because he let fucking teenage girls hang out in his fucking his chat. Which, to me, he's an all-ages streamer. It wasn't just little girls. It was, fucking... And he was always very respectful about shit. He wasn't trying to fucking trick anybody into anything. He was just a fucking guy. You've seen other people do, but it pissed me off. I could go into it, but yeah, you get the idea. Like, he wasn't a fucking pedophile. He was just somebody that let anybody into his fucking thing. As long as you played by the rules of the stream and the TOS of the service, he didn't give a shit who the fuck you were. Well, eventually, we got to a fucking point where I got annoyed and I remembered something. Miss Fox joined the fucking, got on the service, started using the service before she was a fucking adult. And, she also claimed that Daddy Lucifer was the first person she ended up talking to. Therefore, by that logic, fucking Daddy Lucifer, at least at some point, let a child in his fucking stream. And I brought it up. I was like, look, man, here's this, you did the same thing at the same point. So what the fuck, you want to sit there and call him that, but if you're going to call him by that, if you're going to use that logic against him, then you have to use that logic against you. And I'm not fucking with you. I heard that guy whimper. I don't know why. I do not fucking know why he whimpered. It was weird. It was a really weird thing that he did. It freaked me out. Cause what the fuck, dude? You're older than me. What the fuck are you whimpering for? What are you, 12? What are you, a fucking animal that just got beat? I didn't say anything against it. It was really weird. But anyways, yeah, he fucking whimpered, and he never fucking said anything after that. It was a really weird scenario that I got into, and apparently, immediately after that was like, I kind of got like stressed out with some stuff, so I took a fucking hiatus from the whole thing. I left it for a month. Well, I come back, and I join one of my friend's streams, and I tell him, or I remember talking to him, and then he mentioned, he's like, yeah, this whole thing happened after Lucifer's fall, and I was like, Lucifer's fall? The fuck happened? He's like, oh, he got banished from the community. He didn't get banned, he got banished. And I was like, what? What the fuck happened? Okay. So here's the deal. I crashed. So I'm going to try and stitch this in to the other video. I'm going to have to do some editing, even though I don't want to. But I think I know a spot where I left off, so it might be a little iffy. But I'm going to try and finish this up, because I'm at the end of this whole fucking shtick anyways. But anyways, so where I left off, yeah, I called him out, and then I went to a friend's stream, and we talked about the whole thing. And it turns out the guy got fucking banished by his community. Because apparently the same argument he used to call out Kev that got people to shit on Kev worked because, or was this, I used the same logic he used that on Kev. Everybody that fell for Kev being a pedophile fell for him being a pedophile. And because there was a lot more people that, you know, people had a lot more fucking, you know, they were sitting there like calling him a lot, you know, a lot more people. He had a lot more fucking people to call him a pedophile than Kev had people calling him a pedophile. So in the end, Daddy Lucifer succumbed to the thing and just ran away and disappeared. But yeah, so fun fact, that was the story. I'm gonna have to try and stitch that in. I wish I could make the thing a little bit more dramatic, but apparently that's that fucking story. But yeah, I think roughly at this point it's been an hour, and I'm going to try and reach for an hour with these fucking little things. So because I'll reach that, I'm going to end it here and go and start talking tomorrow. You guys have fun. I love you all. Goodbye. Hopefully I can stitch this together.